Hey friends, are you done with dating apps? Tired of swiping through profiles and superficial chats that go nowhere? Well, swipe left on those boring rituals. Introducing Done with Dating, the free podcast driven dating platform that's bringing human interaction back. We sit down with incredible singles for real conversations on our weekly podcast. Listeners like you get to know them deeply, then apply to date a guest or step into the mic yourself. Plus, we'll regularly host experts that discuss the dating world and provide advice on self-improvement techniques when you are taking a break from dating and focusing on yourself. Made for the bold, built for connection, your dating journey redefined through the mic. Head to donewithdating.co right now and apply. It's free. Your perfect match is one episode away. I learned a lot from these next two episodes. Lilli Bewley, a trauma-informed feminine dating coach, reveals how deep inner work and understanding feminine archetypes can rewrite your love story. In this episode, part 1, you'll discover the real reason just be yourself falls flat when it comes to love, and what to do instead to create a magnetic version of yourself, which will in turn attract the partner you desire. She shares concrete insights on navigating perfectionism, control, and judgment that keeps 90% of women stuck in unfulfilling cycles. In part 2, Lilli breaks down her signature system, the 4 feminine archetypes that guide women through healing, self-identification, and unlocking true self-worth. Hi everybody! Today we have Lilli Bewley. She's a trauma-informed feminine dating coach, speaker, author, and podcast host based in Phoenix, Arizona. She specializes in surviving to thriving in love by healing past patterns, building self-worth, and attracting aligned partners without drama. Lilli, thanks for coming on today.
Thanks, John. I'm not done with dating, but I am happy to be here. So thank you for having me.
Well, I'm hoping that I am done with dating, but I'm really excited to have you on because we have a lot of people that I know in my orbit who are just so frustrated with the dating scene. And a lot of them that I know are women who are just really frustrated. And so I was really excited when I heard about what you offer, how you teach, what you do, and your experience. And your story is really powerful. So would you mind just sharing a little bit about your story of transformation and how you use that hard work to help others?
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on, John. And I hope to be able to speak to anyone really that is frustrated right now with the dating process because I've been there too. I remember I used to tell my friends and my family that dating sucks. And I believed it with every core of my being. And you go, if you go around and talk to you, bring other, like, I'm sure you have dating experts that come on the show as well, John. And they'll talk about stats and it's doomsday and like all this stuff. And I believed that for a long time. And through my journey, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, is what I realized myself first. And then I started to teach other women through this process that I went through, a very internal process, by the way. I don't know if you've had dating, coaches. I'm sure you have on the show before. And a lot of dating coaches and even friends and family will give you tactics, tactical things on the outside of you to change things like, oh, your dating profile needs to tweak this, or you need to put this picture on here, or go ask these 5 questions on your first date, or blah, 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 blah. And I do not live in that lane. So I'll say that from the very beginning. I live in the lane of deep transformation inside of oneself to attract whatever it is that we desire on the outside of ourselves. And it's very inner work and inner work focused. And for me, that's the only way to do it. The tactics and all of the things, the how-to will not work if there are patterns that are frustrating you in your dating life. And so again, this all comes from my development and my journey through the years. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But just like, to start off with a bang, what I always say is it's not that dating sucks. It's that your experience with dating sucks. So your work is to change your experience. We change it on the inside of us first, and then that manifests on the outside of us. And so that's where I sit as far as what we do over in my communities. And we talk about ascension, which is ascending inside of ourselves to our next level of growth. It's a constant thing. And when a woman reaches a certain status, they can actually, and a man as well, or when anyone reaches a certain kind of status inside of themselves, then they start to effortlessly attract really anything that they want and desire. And so that's what the work is. But backtracking a little bit, like I'm sitting here from a place of not knowing what a healthy relationship was ever like. I never had a good model for a healthy relationship. The relationship that I was modeled with my parents was very abusive. There's a lot of trauma involved, a lot of covert and over kind of trauma and abuse happening in my childhood. And so as I started to grow up, I started to have these relationships and dating and just, with men where I never felt fully seen. I never felt fully heard. I never felt fully understood or loved. And I really felt like there was something bigger and something better inside of me. But I just, like, especially when it came to love and relationships, but I could just not get to that point. I'm a smart woman. I'm a very driven woman. I'm a high achieving woman, which a lot of women are out there, and the hard thing about that is all of that stuff is important until it's not when it comes to relationships. Because in relationships, I believe that we all, as women and as men, really just want to be loved by who we are and not what we do. And so over time, if we're seeing, which is what I saw, I was good at everything. Like, give me a task list, give me a goal, and I can hit that goal. But when it came to relationships, I kept seeing the same patterns again and again and again. And I finally hit a place where I was just done. I was lost, knees to floor type of thing, rock bottom type of thing, where I knew that I needed to change something about myself. I didn't know where that journey was going, but I started to do the inner work. Really, I really started to dive into the inner work. The patterns that I was seeing was I self-sacrificed and self-abandoned. I didn't have a voice. I didn't have any needs and wants and desires. I would say I would do something, but inside of me I really didn't want to do it. So there were the disconnect between my true yeses and my true nos. And so what that did over time, it attracted people who wanted to use me for things like like maybe the way that I made them feel or my body or different, arm candy, type of situations, right? It really attracted people who really didn't want me for me. They wanted me for like all the masks that I was wearing. And so the inner work was slowly but surely, and sometimes painfully, removing the different masks that I had grown for good reason based off where I had grown up and the models that I saw um in my childhood. And so I saw patterns of, like I said, self-sacrificing, self-abandoning, ghosting, again, never really feeling really truly seen and heard and loved and validated the way that I knew that I wanted. And I didn't really know if it was possible, to be honest with you, at the time, but I knew that there was something different available. And so that's when I started to do the work. And so, like, hour after hour, coach after coach, therapy after therapy, and, tactic and tool after tool, and all these things really started to build up over time. And now, fast forward about, it's been over 10 years now, but fast forward to today where I am in the best relationship that I've ever been in my life. My mom envies my relationship. Like, that's the kind of vibe that we're talking about. The best man I've ever known. He sees me and he hears me and he loves me at like the deepest levels possible, which is very interesting because I remember one of those like tactical tools one of my friends used to give me, who we're not friends anymore, go figure. But
Hmm.
she used to give me like, "Oh, don't go so deep on the first date. Don't go so deep on the first date." Like, my depth was, like, somehow intimidating to others or something like that, which I know people understand, but I'm a deep person, right? And so I was just not attracting the types of people who could meet me at the level that I wanted to be met. And so the inner work came meet myself at the levels that I needed to be met on the inside so that I could attract that on the outside. So any type of thing that anybody is seeing, and this hurts a little bit sometimes, I will say, but if you're seeing any type of pattern, whether it be ghosting, whether it be emotionally unavailable people, whether it be, fill in the blank of whatever pattern is happening on the outside or inside of you, there's always something that we can look at on the inside of us. And that's what I went through. And again, I'm in a relationship again that our parents, like his parents as well, they are astounded by like the level of depth that we have and the love that we have and partnership that we have and growth and like connection to God and universe and just like people can feel this. And so I've literally broken these generational patterns, and that's what a lot of women are really excited about too when they come to us as well, as like they want to change things for themselves and the world and their kids and all that stuff. So that's where I am.
Yeah, that's fascinating and a great success story that hopefully a lot of people will be able to model over time. Your program speaks a lot to me and seems to address what can really help people post divorce. Right now, it's primarily focused on women at this time. Can you please explain why exploring the feminine dating archetypes can help women
Yeah.
create that roadmap for the self identification and improvement for themselves?
Yeah, totally. I'm so glad that you hear some resonance in that because it really is, you know, as much as people kind of want to make it about other people, for me, it's like you got to own your lane. You got to do your work if you really want to do something, you know, want to call in something better. But John, the feminine dating archetypes was just a little bit like of a backstory on what they are. So, the feminine dating archetypes is something that really God gave to me. What was interesting about my journey is that I didn't know it at the time, but hindsight's 2020 is I went through these specific stages in my journey, right? Like there's a bunch of stuff around these different stages. I didn't have any needs or wants and desires. I didn't really have a voice. I didn't know how to speak up. I didn't, you know, there wasn't a lot of confidence. I didn't know who I was really. I kind of my identity came from other people at some, you know, in some respects, and that was a certain stage. And so I went through my healing process and got kind of to the pinnacle of what I aspire to be and what my clients take on this aspiration as well. And we're not talking about like Lily goes and says, be this woman. It's like becoming this version of ourselves, this woman or this man to really actualize everything again that is available for us in the world. And so again, I went through these stages and then I started to take women through the same process that I went through, and they had that, like, it was surprising to me because they kind of went through the same stages too, and I'm like, "Whoa, I'm not alone." And what's really also very hard if you're scared of repeating the same patterns, or I don't know if you felt this in your journey, John, but like if you are scared of repeating the same patterns or the same patterns are showing up in your dating life, like going to
Hmm.
talk to your friends and your family about like the same pattern with a different face on it is embarrassing, and there's a lot of shame. And, you know, like a lot of times, at least what I did is I just shut down or I ignored it. So I never really felt alone, or I felt alone. I didn't really feel like I don't know, it was a weird vibe because it was like the same thing. It's clearly like me, but what is amazing about the femininity archetypes is that I know, basically, I know what's happening inside of you. We know what's happening inside of you. And we could talk about all of the things that hold shame, embarrassment, anger, resentment, frustration, and confusion, because that is what you really want to change on the inside of you, right? And so, femininity archetypes was this 4-step journey, this 4-step system of, okay, you're at this level. This is what you need to do to get to this level. Okay, you're at this level. This is what you need to do to get to this level. And this was, again, my journey combined with a bunch of other women's journey, combined with some nervous system information, some different parts alignment information, and all this came together. And God was like, Lily, you need to talk about this. And so that's when we started talking about it. And one of my favorite things about the feminine dating archetypes, I'll tell you my biggest pet peeve, I don't know if you felt this way, John, like in your growth, but one of my biggest pet peeves about the personal development space in general, therapy in general, is that everyone is really quick to label you but not quick to help you to to get out of that label, right? Like there's
Yeah. Hmm.
codependency, there's narcissism, there's anxious attachment, there's secure attachment, there's all this stuff. And what can happen is that if a pattern was as easy as recognizing what a label was, like getting out of a pattern, then we would be able to do it really easily. And the hard
Yeah.
part is what I found in my journey is that it really got frustrating to me because I knew that I was codependent, but no one ever told me how to get out of the codependency, like the deep level work necessary to kind of get to that next level. And the feminine dating archetypes actually offers that roadmap. So like each gate, each level that you are in, we have recognized the gate. I call it the healing gate that you have the opportunity to process with. Obviously, we have programs here, but you can do it with therapy. If you say, "Oh, I've identified I want to work on this, this, and this," you can bring it to your therapist or bring it to your coach or do that work on your own of what we have seen again and again and again to in order to heal to kind of get to the next level. Again, this is the inner work. This isn't the outer work. This is like the inner work. So that's
Right.
where that all came from.
Yeah. And we're going to go deep for those listening and interested in this. We're going to go deep into those archetypes in the second part of this podcast. But I wanted to scratch the surface a bit with Lilli first and just talk about her programs in general, and then kind of what she sees in terms of the intel prep of the battle space that I talk about a lot in terms
Mhm.
of the podcast. So for those who are anxious to hear this, it's coming. It'll be just a few minutes away. But can you tell us, from what you're seeing from the clients that you have, what would you say is a dating myth that you wish you could banish forever from women who are over 30?
Oh, I think the biggest one I think that women are most annoyed about, because I was annoyed about this when I was dating and kind of going through this whole process is, oh, just go be yourself. Just go be yourself. Just go listen to your intuition. Because if we have had stuff happen to us in the past, which is almost every woman, like if you are seeing patterns that you do not like, whether that be inside or outside of you in the dating process, there is something happening on the inside of you. And whether you know it, whether it's conscious or whether it's not, it's there. Okay. So let me just put that out there. Um, and like this idea of, oh, just go be yourself. I didn't know who I was. Like I really did. I mean, I did like if you would have met me maybe 15 years ago, you would have like thought I was bubbly. Like there would be a similar vibe, but there would also be a vibe of if you really, really like tuned in, there would also be a vibe of performance. There would be a vibe of she's seeking validation. There would be a
Hmm.
vibe of just some level of subconscious inauthenticity in there, right? And that is again, that is a pattern, a life pattern, not just a dating pattern, but it can be a life pattern, which is like crazy when you come into the healing work because then you go into like, well, who am I without this? Who am I without seeking validation? Who am I without seeking affirmation or, whatever it is? But it goes kind of, crazy sometimes.
And that probably left you susceptible to certain people who looked for that, maybe
Oh,
consciously
yeah.
or subconsciously, right? That like targeted that. Oh,
Yeah.
she's looking for validation. I can pull her in with this, validating her, things like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, you draw in either someone that mirrors exactly kind of who you are subconsciously, or you draw in someone that is kind of going to abuse those not abuse,
Yeah.
like it's not all conscious. It's very subconscious,
Right.
it's very subtle and sneaky, but who can subconsciously pick up on those insecurities. Like that's the whole like codependent and narcissism kind of dance right
Hmm.
there, right? Or the avoidant and anxious dance. But that's essentially right. Like either you're going to attract somebody who mirrors that. Like I remember my last relationship before this one I was in, what I realized after the fact was that like his need for validation and affirmation was like I kind of filled that for him, right? So he had that and I had that in a different way. So I kind of helped. It's like, both of our wounds of not enoughness kind of playing off of each other through the whole relationship.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like this idea of like just go be yourself. If you knew how to do that, you would have already done it, right? And that's when people kind of get stuck in these tips and tricks and strategies and hacks. They go through TikTok and Instagram and stuff and they'll, kind of come up with all these things, but they don't work, right? They just don't work, especially if you've been through some stuff in the past. And just like people will say, "Oh, just listen to your gut, listen to your intuition." No, that's not going to work. It doesn't work because again, there are there are wounded parts of us that here's what a lot of people don't realize, especially if like they're seeing unfulfilling relationships or there's fear or there's insecurity or not enoughness or performance or all of these kind of like things, right? Is if you are seeing things that you don't like, likely a wounded part of you, like a hurt part of you that is maybe living in the past or living in the future is actually leading your dating process. It's not you, it's actually a part of you. But then that hard work, that inner work that is open and available to you is actually about coming into true alignment with who you are, which is what everyone wants to be loved by or as, right? And again, just listening to your intuition, again, if it was that easy, we would have already done it. So like there's the deep level work to learn how to trust yourself again, learn how to trust other people. If you don't trust other people, then you don't trust yourself. And you likely don't trust yourself to pick the right people. And that's where also listening to your intuition comes in. Like people think that they're in touch with their gut, like those butterflies and everything like that. But that's actually a little bitty, little wounded part of you from the past that is like, oh my God, am I going to be loved finally? But that's not where you attract a true love from, right? You attract true love from inner alignment, from calm and peace and connectedness inside of yourself. So it's a whole thing, but like I said, it's again more about the self-alignment, like magnetism for the good stuff
Mhm.
rather than it is any of that stuff on the outside.
So, as you're helping clients and they start to move through this essentially series of changes and self improvement, have you run into situations where now somebody is really stable in terms of how they feel about themselves, how they feel about their relationships? They feel very solid and confident in themselves. And then they go out into the dating pool and men are scared of them. Have you dealt with that at all?
Who do you know, first of all? Who are you talking about? That is
Many women, many women. There's several women I know that fit that category, and they're like, I cannot. Like one of them is gorgeous, great personality. She's like, I cannot pay men to date me. This is ridiculous.
okay.
What is my problem?
I'm gonna call her out and I'm gonna ask her to take the feminine dating archetype quiz. And my guess is she's gonna be the goddess woman. Now, the goddess woman, now this, I'm kind of segueing in, I guess, to that conversation, John, but
Sure.
the goddess woman has done a lot of work on herself. Like it's going to be interesting. I'm going to watch her face for some feedback because I'm going to see if I'm talking about this woman. She's done a lot of work on herself. She's very into personal development, very into personal growth. She thinks that she knows what she wants. Like she's written out a list that she wants in her dream partner. She's written a letter to her dream partner. What's coming to her is out of alignment from what she thinks that she wants. So she like wants a masculine man, feminine men are coming to her. She wants an emotionally available man, but emotionally unavailable men are coming to her, or they're emotionally available but on the feminine side of things, right? And so it's very confusing for her because she's done all the work. She thinks that she knows what she wants, but the whole like everything else, a lot of other things in her life are working really, really well except for this love thing. And the love thing is so hard for her because she's very self-aware. These women, and I love you women because these are mostly the women that I work with are the goddess woman, is that they are very smart, but very smart for their own, like at the detriment of their own good.
Mm.
Meaning that it's not that the like the there may be an intimidation factor, but the thing is that they attract what is like subconsciously running. Again, we attract what is subconsciously running on the inside. Now, that's hard for the goddess woman again because she's so smart and she's so self-aware, right? And the 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 thing for the goddess woman is really just misalignment and there's a mismatch. So some part of her there's misalignment. Now, a lot of times with the goddess woman, I'll give you a little foreshadowing, but if you go take
Mhm.
the quiz and you get the goddess woman, your targets and your signposts to heal are all about judgment, are all about control, and all about perfectionism. So, perfectionism, control, and judgment, there's probably a lot of that happening inside of her, even though she may say that there isn't, there probably is. And all of those kind of mechanisms are safety mechanisms. So there's a level of vulnerability that the goddess woman kind of wants, but she doesn't know how to do it in this like perfect way where she's attracting men that can meet her at the level that wanting to be met. Does that make sense? Does that sound right?
Yes.
Do you know?
I don't know, and I don't want to get in trouble with any of my friends, so I'm not. I just let them listen and
Mhm,
comment
mhm.
by themselves. But
Yeah,
I would say so. We could just jump right into it. I do have one more question for you before
sure.
we kind of jump into the archetypes. But um, so you have a goal of helping 1 million people find true love, right?
Mhm.
Where are you with that? Are you at like
Good question.
998,000, or are you pretty close?
Good question. I should have a counter on my website. Um, so I count the ripple effect in that. I will be honest, John.
Yeah,
So it is somewhat immeasurable, but the reason
sure.
it's like that is because the women that come to ascension. We talk about ascension in our community, and the women that want to ascend to their next level, this is literally a ripple effect with, they take on the motivation of healing generational trauma. Like that's something that they want to do. They want to break the cycle. They want to heal the pattern for good so that it doesn't continue in their family. That could be for their children. That could be for me, it was my niece and nephews. I didn't have any children at the time. Could be for your employees. It could be for your coworkers. Could be for, a lot of women take on the motivation of, I want to become the woman that God and the universe is calling me to be. Like there's a space inside of us sometimes when we're at that level where it's like there's got to be something else, right? And they take on that motivation. And long answer to a short question is I really count the ripple effect in that because women and men, I feel like, in these types of spaces where we're having deep conversations, like we want to make some change. We see the world as a place where like our presence could actually change things or at least hope for that, right? And so that's really the work. And where are we at that? I don't know. I'm going to like put a ballpark out there. I'm getting 870 for some reason, so I'm going to roll with that, but I
All right.
really have
That's
no
awesome.
idea. But
Yeah.
I've seen it within myself of like when I change, like my family changes, my mom changes, my partner's mom changes, my niece and my nephew change, my sister changes, my brother changes. And this is not, and caveat, this is not because I'm telling them to change. This is because I am able to act as a different example of something
Hmm.
and a feeling and an energy and an alignment, the way that my energy is, the way I use my words, the way that I can communicate clearly and honestly is a place of like of modeling. Again, modeling in a way they haven't seen it before. None of them. And so in some ways, like when I rise, a lot of other people rise with me. And I've seen it. I've seen it with my clients. I've seen it, I've seen, so many really beautiful stories of clients and maybe their daughters have gone through sexual abuse and I'm working with the mom, but the way that the mom is reacting to, to the young child. And it's just like a beautiful, she gets to teach them what she's learning about
Hmm.
herself, what she's learning about her nervous system, what she's learning about, parts alignment. And just the healing ripple effect is just like, it is really somewhat immeasurable, but like I said, I'm getting 870 based on, the work that I've done,
Yeah.
but, um, that's what I see. I mean, and I really, really feel like that is the way to change the world. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening right now, and I think that for me, I take on the stance of it's like if I'm in alignment with myself, if I'm in alignment with something bigger than me, whether it be God, universe, spirit, that's my contribution. And that for me is enough. And so I'm in my purpose and I'm in my dharma and all that stuff. And that's the way that that's what I hope. That's what I hope for.
That makes a lot of sense to me because when I've had kind of a steady relationship, it manifests just like you're talking about with the
Mhm.
ripple effect through my family.
Mhm.
My family is way more at peace with whoever I'm with. Then that means that family parties are way easier. There's no facade. There's no entertaining component of it. Everybody can be themselves.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's good and bad, but but
The family
but
is the place where it really
it's
gets interesting.
the mask is off,
Yeah.
and the nice thing is everybody can be comfortable, and it's really awesome from my kids to
Yeah.
parents or whoever. So I'm sure that the work that you're doing probably ripples even beyond what you know of,
Mm.
which is really great. So if you're done with endless swiping and ready for something real, don't miss a single episode. Hit that subscribe button right now on your favorite podcast app and never miss the bold conversations that could change your dating life forever. Every week, we bring you incredible singles, excellent advice, raw stories, and real opportunities to connect, all for free. Subscribe today, apply at donewithdating.co, and turn your next listen into your next date. Your perfect match is waiting on the other side of the mic. It doesn't matter where you live. Someone local is listening and will want to date you. We'll see you in the next episode. Subscribe now.